There's a strange paradox in life. Everyone says they want peace, yet most run from the very silence where peace lives. We chase it through noise, through applause, through endless distractions that promise calm but deliver only echoes. As Napoleon Hill once said, the mind is both a battlefield and a sanctuary, depending on how we train it. Still, how many of us dare to sit inside that sanctuary long enough to hear what's truly there? This is the story of a man who tried everything to find peace, until peace found him. Daniel was 35, a quiet face in a loud city. Every morning he joined the same river of commuters, coffee in hand, phone in the other, scrolling through the lives of people who seemed happier than him. His apartment was neat, modern, and somehow hollow. The walls were pale, the clock ticked too loudly, and at night the glow of his screen was the only light he trusted. To everyone else, Daniel looked fine. Stable job, polite smile, predictable routine. But inside, he felt like a glass of water held too long, trembling, never spilling, yet never still. There was a restlessness in him he couldn't name. It followed him into every meeting, every meal, every conversation that ended with, "I'm good. How about you?" One evening, the restlessness grew louder than usual. The city was soaked in rain, the kind that blurs reflections and hides tears. Daniel walked without purpose, just to quiet the noise inside. That's when he noticed a small, forgotten shop tucked between two tall buildings. A wooden sign above the door read, "Hale's Watch Repair." Inside, time seemed to slow. The air smelled of oil and old leather. Hundreds of clocks surrounded him, each ticking at its own rhythm, like a choir of moments. Behind the counter sat an elderly man with silver hair and a steady gaze. "Evening," he said softly. "How can I help?" Daniel hesitated, then noticed the cracked glass of his wristwatch, something he hadn't even realized was broken. He handed it over. "It just stopped working," he said. The old man nodded, turning the watch gently in his hands. As the sound of ticking filled the silence, the man spoke again. "You know, time never breaks, Daniel. Only our way of living inside it does." Daniel blinked. "How do you know my name?" The old man smiled faintly. "It's written right here." He pointed to the back of the watch. The engraving read, "To Daniel, keep your own time. Love, Dad." Daniel's throat tightened. He had forgotten about that watch. It was a gift from his father, years before the man passed away. He watched as Mr. Hale replaced the gears with patient precision. "Your father wanted you to remember something," the old man murmured. "Peace isn't out there. It's in here." He tapped his chest. Daniel paid, thanked him quietly, and stepped back into the rain. The city lights shimmered like scattered stars. For the first time in years, he walked home without headphones, letting the rhythm of his footsteps guide him. That night, he placed the watch on his bedside table and just stared at it. He didn't scroll through his phone. He didn't fill the silence. He simply listened and realized how loud his own thoughts had become. The next morning, Daniel tried something new. He sat on the edge of his bed, closed his eyes, and breathed. 10 minutes of stillness before touching his phone, before checking emails, before letting the world in. At first, it felt unbearable. His mind fought back with lists, memories, and random noise, but gradually the noise softened, as if it knew it wasn't being chased anymore. He started walking to work without music, hearing the world as it truly was, the rustle of leaves, a child's laughter, the distant hum of morning traffic. Life hadn't changed, but he had begun to. Days turned into weeks. He noticed small things, the warmth of sunlight on the window, the kindness in a stranger's eyes, the quiet comfort of being alone without feeling lonely. The more he sat in silence, the more he discovered that peace was not the absence of sound, but the absence of resistance. It was like standing in the middle of a storm and realizing the wind cannot move what has already accepted itself. One evening, Daniel returned to the watch shop to thank Mr. Hale. The rain had stopped, the air smelled clean, But when he reached the street, the shop was gone. The windows were empty, the sign removed. Only the faint outline of where the words, "Hale's Watch Repair," once hung remained. Confused, he peered inside the dusty glass and saw a single note taped to the door. It read, "When the mind rests, the world follows." No signature, no trace. Just that. Daniel smiled. Somehow he understood. He placed his hand over his chest, feeling the steady rhythm beneath his skin, the only clock that truly mattered. From that day on, his life didn't look different on the outside, but everything felt different within. Meetings still happened, bills still arrived, traffic still roared, yet none of it touched the quiet place he had found inside himself. He no longer chased peace. He lived from it. Weeks later, he sat by his window during another soft rain. The watch ticked beside him, perfectly aligned with his heartbeat. He whispered to himself, "Thought is the cause, peace is the effect." And for the first time, he understood what his father meant by "keep your own time." So many of us wait for the world to calm down before we find peace. But the truth is simpler. The world calms down the moment we do. Because peace isn't a place you go. It's a way of seeing, a way of being, a quiet agreement between your heart and your mind. If this story touched something inside you, share it so it might reach someone who's still searching for their silence. And tell me, what does inner peace mean to you today? Let's keep growing, one silent breath at a time.